Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name's Cody Bills, this is Brock Shimano. Today's Thursday the 20th and the market sold off yet again today. Corn traded down 6 3/4, beans down 29. That's the third day of hard selling that we've seen out of that grain. Wheat down 15 1/4, and Kansas City wheat trading down 13 3/4. There's a couple reasons why we ended up down here today. I think one of them in particular, we had export sales come out this morning. Very disappointing export sales for corn that didn't help the market at all. Wheat, it was actually very positive for wheat, and beans, we came in a little bit on the shy side of analyst expectations. We also had a large cancellation from China. Over 500,000 metric tons were canceled from export sales that were already booked, and I think that really added some selling pressure to the market this morning. You know, Brock, taking into account the export sales, you know, when we're looking at this in our model, what are we seeing here, and does it have any implications, do you think, for the January WASDE report?
I think it does have some implications for that WASDE report. You know, we have seen those cancellations over the last couple of days or so. That is a little bit concerning since we've seen a couple in a row. That's something we will have to monitor as we move forward through this marketing year. But if we take a look at where we've already been this marketing year, our chart here shows us the blue bars are actually what we're experiencing for weekly sales of exports. The red line is what we should be experiencing to meet the current USDA projections. You know, this week we did meet those expectations, but keep in mind, even with those cancellations, they won't show up for a couple weeks in these reports coming up here. Right now we're currently ahead of pace by 193 million bushels, so we're still far ahead of pace despite these cancellations. We did fall 1 million bushels this week. So, you know, looking at the January report, I do think we will see some sort of revision to the export sales demand picture by the USDA. I'm not quite sure how big that'll be. I would guess maybe 50 million bushels or so. You know, corn, a little bit of a different story though. We have continued to see those abysmal sales of corn. You can take a look at this chart here. We've seen 4 weeks in a row of just terrible sales. And again, we missed expectations this week. We're behind pace by 44 million bushels, and we fell another 10 million bushels this week to meet the current USDA projections. So for corn, I would imagine that we would see some sort of revision lower in the January report of export sales.
Yeah, and you know, we've been talking about this a lot, particularly for corn. You know, we've looked at this demand side of the equation, and for ethanol, it's been kind of disappointing. We've been coming in below what we need to meet the USDA's forecast. We're barely meeting our own forecast, which is 100 million bushels below the USDA. And then when you look at export sales, you know, here, I mean, just look at the blue lines here, you know, well below the red line, which is what we need to be, you know, in terms of seasonality, what we need to be booking. We're coming up short every single week. So I think what we're seeing here in terms of price for corn is probably needed to spur some of this demand so that we are in line with what the USDA is forecasting here. You know, taking into account, you know, what we've seen here, Brock, do you anticipate any sort of continuation of this selling trend on Friday, or do you think that maybe we'll come back?
You know, I think we're heading towards the end of the week. We've seen, especially in the soybean market, a large downturn in the market. We've taken off about $1 in the last 3 sessions. So I would imagine that, you know, heading into the weekend, we're heading towards a holiday on next Tuesday, a shortened day on Monday. I would imagine that if a lot of shorts have come into the market, and we've seen commodity funds actually sell about 30,000 contracts over the last 3 days or so. Those are a couple things to keep in mind. I do imagine that we will see some sort of support come in tomorrow. We're right around that $14 level. If nothing else, I think we'll see some short covering as we head into the weekend and into the holiday.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same camp that you are. We've had 3 very hard days of selling for soybeans, and I wouldn't be surprised, you know, we're right around that $14 mark, and I wouldn't be surprised, yeah, maybe we may penetrate that area tomorrow, but I kind of think that we will see some sort of short covering at some point tomorrow, and perhaps we'll bounce back. Maybe it'll turn into kind of more of a doji where you get, you know, a decent sized range, but we close up back where we started. So it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. You know, we're going to be watching the market closely. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. You know, make sure you follow our opening and closing calls here that we do every day. But thanks a lot for tuning in, and we will see you on Friday.